Holy flip. Today's a big day. It's Haley. We're going to talk about severe thunderstorms only today. Why? Because there is a moderate risk of severe thunderstorms. And because I wanted to make sure that I covered everything, I've put together a lovely 3-slide presentation. Here's slide 1. Severe weather outlook for today, January 22nd, 2012. There's a moderate risk today. This is the first moderate risk of the year, and it's flippin' winter. So what's up with that? There is a 15% chance of a tornado, and we'll look at the map. And in addition to just it being a 15% chance, it's a risk that there will be significant tornadoes, EF2 or higher. So let's look at the areas. So this is the severe thunderstorm, the categorical risk, where it's the risk of severe weather in general. And you'll also see that there is a 45% chance of severe winds with an additional chance that will be significant. So severe wind, 58 miles per hour greater. Significant winds, 75 miles per hour and greater. And the tornado, I don't remember if I covered it, but a chance of a tornado is considered severe, period. Significant tornadoes are EF2s or greater. Scale goes from EF0 to EF5. So this is the moderate risk in general, which probably overlaps with where the wind probability is. So, what do the percentages mean? And this applies to all of the different ones. When they say 45% chance of severe winds, that means within any given, if you pick a point, like just here, within, I believe it's 25 miles, and now I realize I'm going to have to refresh my teaching since it's been a while. Within 25 miles or whatever the radius is, there's a 45% chance that there will be a severe wind event within that range. So it might not be you, but it could be neighbors in that radius around you. So what we have here is the 5%, the 15%, 30%, 45%. So the purplish area is a 45% chance of severe winds happening. And then what the black hatched areas is the risk where wind events that do occur could be significant. So you'll see it actually, there's parts of it that overlap with the 30% area. So the hail risk is not as great today, but it is 30%. It's not as great in comparison to the wind. It's way higher than it was yesterday, though. And here is the tornado map, and it is a huge, huge area today of who's covered. So we've got a 2% chance that covers a whole bunch, 5%, and then 10, and then 15. So, and you'll see there's so same story as before. We've got the 15% chance, where that's the largest, the biggest chance that there will be something happening, tornado-wise, period. And then the black hatched area is where there is the chance of the significant tornado events. So you also notice, anytime there's a moderate risk or higher, there is a public weather outlook issued by the Storm Prediction Center. Can't get my acronyms going today. So you can read it here, where it's passed on Wicked Wix, and you can actually watch, they put together, they have their own presentation. They do this, I believe they only do this on moderate risk days and higher. But they'll put together something that's actually somewhat geared to the public. And this, if you read it, is actually much more user-friendly, public-wise, than what you'll generally see down here, where it's much more scientific and like boundary layer, dew points, and all that stuff. So, that's today. Let's go back to the thing, make sure I cover everything. So, what you should do, you are in an affected area. If you don't already own one, go out and get yourself a weather radio. I believe you can find them at grocery stores, probably. If you're in an area, like they sell them in grocery stores, and Radio Shacks maybe, probably even Best Buys and places. They're getting much more popular. I don't even think that they even sell the non-same models anymore, but what does SAME stand for specific area message encoding. So, way back in the day, if you owned a weather radio, anytime that your local weather office issued any kind of watch or warning for anybody in the listening area, that's probably not what they call it for the National Weather Service offices, but whatnot. But anyway, your weather radio would come on. So it could be an event happening like 200 miles away from you, like a flash flooding thing that isn't going to affect you at all. So that's why you want to get same specific area message encoding, because then you get to punch in your county. So only when stuff happening for your county will your weather radio go off. And also a lot of places I've seen will advertise that they will program it for you, and you should probably take advantage of that. I mean, it's not too difficult to program in the information, but if you're buying a weather radio on the day of a big event, you should go ahead and make sure that it's going to be ready to go. So we're now going to cover the weather.gov hazardous weather outlook. So here's what you do. Weather.gov. I picked Memphis, Tennessee, because it kind of seems to be in the hotspot area. So what you do, and apparently, there we go. Memphis, Tennessee, you do go. You can also punch in your zip code into that area. So what you want to be looking at here, obviously you can look at the general forecast information, but this area, this box right here. Now right now, nothing, this is like a later, I believe it's like late afternoon, evening / even overnight. I think a lot of this stuff is supposed to be past sunset, which makes it obviously even more dangerous because you're not going to see something coming. So what I want you to do is, if you're in an affected area, go here and read these things. And also if a watch gets issued, and obviously even a warning, this is the box it will be in. So the point of reading stuff like the hazardous weather outlook is this is specific to your area. Whereas like the Storm Prediction Center, they cover nationally. But this is issued by your local weather, well, I forget what they call it, but the local weather office. So it's going to be tuned. So they're going to talk about, like, let's see, late today and tonight. They'll talk about like timing and stuff, whereas, you know, if it's a huge, massive event, it could kick off in the morning for some areas and, you know, kick off in the evening further. So that's why it's important to read the one that's tuned to your area. Let's see, pay attention to watches today. What the difference between a watch and a warning? If you're not familiar, watch is less severe than a warning. Warning means something has been spotted, either it's Doppler radar indicated or there is a spotter on the ground who has seen a tornado, if it happens to be a tornado warning, of course, and that means it's happening now. A watch is saying, hey, stuff is going to happen soon. So it could be like in the next 30 minutes, it could be like in the next couple hours, and they issue them for like several hours at a time, so pay attention to that. So obviously if you're going to be out traveling or something, you definitely want to be paying attention because you don't want to be stuck on the road when suddenly there's a tornado warning. Also, do not hide under an overpass because that's where the winds get funneled into, and then, you know, I'm just going to throw out random math here, but let's say if you had 100-mile-per-hour wind, well, under that overpass, it could get to like 200 or something. I have no idea if it gets that fast, but it's basically like the water hose effect. You know, have you ever put your thumb over the water hose, and then that's how you get that real pressure spray? Think about that for the wind that's getting funneled through that overpass area. You're, you know, part of the water hose contraption now. So yeah, radar is the next thing. And also from the same page, here you can get directly to radar. So the important things, most of us are used to looking, honestly, frankly, I have no idea what the difference is between composite reflectivity and base. But what you really want to pay attention to, I say, is make sure you bring up the loop. Okay, good, we do have. So here's the purpose of the loop. If you were to look at, like, just any one of these frames, just as a still image, you wouldn't necessarily know where the storm is going. But that's why it's important to look at the loop of the radar so that you can say, oh, I'm actually in the path of that. Because not all storms move in the same direction. So that's why that is important. And last but not least is something. Here's how you get to your local National Weather Service. Here's how you find out who your office thing, who it is. Here's the link after you're in your forecast. And then, of course, you'll also get, a lot of times, they'll have their own presentations of where they talk about, like, significant severe weather outbreak. Expected late this afternoon and tonight. Hey, and check that out. They actually do have a breakdown of times. So, starting at, like, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. So, oh yeah, supercells early, squall line late. So, supercells, those are like those little self-contained type things, sort of. And squall line, you can actually kind of see it, and this is kind of sort of a radar indication. And the squall line is basically a big, big line. And there's still a tornado threat with a squall line, but at that point, I think generally with squall lines, the big danger is wind. And of course, winds can be, straight line winds can be extremely damaging. They just don't bring on the fear like a tornado does, but you should respect them just as much. What is this? Timmy the Twister says, moderate risk of severe weather. That's right. You heard it here first. Timmy the Twister said that. Look how nice it is. 50 degrees. Yeah, it's not going to be nice much longer. Okay, so yeah. Pay attention is the basic idea today. So there will be another, let's see, 20 GMT. I think that makes it... the next outlook is what I'm trying to say. 20 GMT, that would be 8 p.m. GMT, which I believe would be 2 p.m. Central, so 3 p.m. Eastern. Right, something in that area. So, but that's when you'll get the next updated national thing. Righto. So tomorrow, there's also severe probability. Let's look at the tornado map again. So, you guys, pay attention for whoever's sake, pay attention. Yes, tomorrow, apparently not as bad. And then there's a 5% chance the day after that. So here's your generic thunderstorm area. And then here is where there's a 5% chance of severe weather. So it's quite a large area, but small. 5% as compared to today's highest of 45%. So yes. Pay attention is the moral of the story. So weather.gov, wickedwix.com, WICKEDWX, of course, local TV. But the thing about local TV, you definitely need to get a weather radio. And you also, if you can, you get access to your own radar. Because the thing about TV stations is they serve lots of areas and people are always calling in to complain when there's, live weather coverage. So, they've got, it's sad, but they might have other interests. So, take care of yourself is basically the moral of the story there, and pay attention. And if you're in an affected area today, good luck.